According to an old Native American legend, there are 13 ancient crystal skulls the size of human skulls with movable jaws that are said to speak or sing. These skulls are believed to contain important information about the origins, purpose, and destiny of mankind, and answers to some of the greatest mysteries of life and the universe. The ancient civilization of the Mayans was once one of the most advanced cultures of the ancient world. The mysteries of the Mayan pyramids, Mayan crystal skulls, and Mayan legends have endured for millennia. In the last 15 years, the interest in the Mayan culture has dramatically grown regarding the ending Mayan calendar. In the days before the Mayan calendar was set to end, hundreds of people had been gathering in an archaeological site, once sacred to the Tequesta tribe, to witness a native ritual involving an ancient relic known as the Crystal Skulls. Since the mystery of the skulls includes a prophecy that in times of conflict or an approaching disaster, their strength could be employed to prevent the catastrophic event from occurring.
There were 13 heads, and it was purported that the Navajo, the Anasazi, the Mayans, the Aztec each had one.
According to legends, the skulls are containers of great knowledge, wisdom, and information believed to be essential to humanity. It is said that this information is not only important to the future of this planet, but vital to the very survival of the human race. According to these ancient teachings, one day all of the crystal skulls will be rediscovered and brought together for their collective wisdom to be made available. But the human race must first be sufficiently evolved, both morally and spiritually, so as not to abuse this great knowledge. While hundreds of crystal skulls have been found worldwide, only 13 are believed to possess a mystical power. However, dozens of modern skulls have flooded the field, making it difficult to discern the authenticity of the ancient relics. Despite skeptics and scientists denouncing them as hoaxes, enthusiasts claim that as many as 12 of the 13 authentic skulls have been discovered and are in private collections.
There's the Phyllis Newman skull named Max. She has to put it in the closet because it talks to her. And there's the Mitchell-Hedges skull that's in Indiana. There's one in Mexico City, 2 at the Smithsonian, Washington, D.C., and 1 at the Victoria and Albert Museum.
The story of the 13 skulls begins in 1924, when Frederick Albert Mitchell-Hedges, an English adventurer, traveler, and writer, embarked on an expedition to Central America, hoping to find remnants of the extinct civilization of Atlantis, and without knowing it, he finds them in the ruins of the city of Fallen Stones, where the Mayans once lived. The expedition began work on clearing the ancient Mayan city in the humid tropical jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula. At that time, British Honduras, now Belize, and 33 hectares of forest that had engulfed barely recognizable ancient buildings were burned to facilitate excavation. When the smoke finally cleared, the participants of the expedition had an amazing sight: stone ruins of a pyramid, city walls, and a huge amphitheater for thousands of spectators. The name of the village is Lubanton, which translated from the Mayan language means City of Fallen Stones. 3 years have passed, and on this next expedition, Mitchell-Hedges took his young daughter Anna with him. In April 1927, on the day of her 17th birthday, Anna discovered an incredible object under the ruins of an ancient altar, one of the oldest and most enigmatic crystal skulls ever found. It was a life-size human skull, made of the finest quartz crystal and beautifully polished. Its weight was 5.13 kilograms with a very decent size, 124 millimeters width, 147 millimeters height, and 197 millimeters in length. True, his lower jaw was missing, but 3 months later it was also found. It turned out that this crystal piece was suspended on perfectly smooth hinges and began to move at the slightest touch. The local people told Mitchell-Hedges that the skull was over 3,600 years old and predates their civilization. After Mitchell-Hedges' death, his daughter Anna guarded the skull for more than a decade, before allowing it to be studied by Frank Dorland in the 1960s. On careful examination, he discovered a whole system of lenses, prisms, and channels in it, creating unusual optical effects. The eye sockets began to glow when, for example, a torch or candle was placed under them. A similar effect is also observed in some other skulls, in which skillfully made prisms and lenses are also present. The researcher was impressed by the fact that even under a microscope, no traces of processing were visible on this perfectly polished crystal. He speculated that it was first chiseled into rough form, probably using diamonds, and the finer shaping, grinding, and polishing was also achieved through the use of sand over a period of 150 to 300 years. He also speculated that the skull could be up to 12,000 years old. But how was it made? The skull was completely baffling to Dorland, and all kinds of unusual phenomena were happening around it, including strange sounds, smells, and even the skull lighting up a dark room by itself.
In a space of darkness and emptiness is where they find exception, not with their experiences of knowledge, because it's all in one thing. So it's actually the exceptionalism of its darkness and silence and space that it remembers standing out in its period of time.
Research conducted in 1964 in a special crystal laboratory of the Hewlett-Packard Company also showed that the skull was made long before the appearance of the first civilizations in this part of America. The place where the skull was made turned out to be a mystery. Neither in Mexico nor in all of Central America is there a single deposit of such crystal. The only source can be quartz from California. But the crystal skull is of such high quality that it seems impossible that quartz from California was used. What is more, this antediluvian skull was made of a single-piece crystal. So, the findings of these analyses suggested that it was almost impossible for a human being to make the skull, and laboratory tests tell us that it is impossible to duplicate it with modern equipment. So, perhaps the crystal skull was not made by humans at all. Then who created it? Native American tribes have stories about crystal skulls being left behind by their ancestors, and according to legend, the original 13 skulls will reveal sacred knowledge of the gods when they come together to form a global grid. The Native American myths say that there are 12 inhabited planets, and each crystal skull contains the information from one of these planets, including Earth. The 13th skull contains the knowledge of all those planets and serves as a backup. The crystal skulls are believed to be thousands of years old, and some may have extraterrestrial origins. Knowing that in Mayan mythology, extraterrestrial encounters are said to have played a role in their history, we should raise the question, is the Mitchell-Hedges skull an ancient extraterrestrial relic?
They were found at different times in history around the world. How do you go and seed? How do you deposit them?
The origin of the so-called authentic crystal skulls have been a topic of debate for many years. Museums in London and Paris displayed these skulls as genuine Mesoamerican religious relics in the late 19th century. However, mainstream scientists argue that they are all modern creations and cannot be dated accurately due to the absence of radioactive elements in quartz crystal. Some experts even suggest that modern tools were used to create them, while others believe that ancient civilizations had sophisticated tools to make them.
That's the question.
Who made them is the question.
Who
Were
made
they from
them?
modern Western
And
people?
how? Were they polished or were they carved? That's the thing.
The core message of the idea of the crystal skulls is that our ancestors are divine and ancient. Can the skulls provide a link to mankind's extraterrestrial ancestors? And how do these crystal objects contain such supernatural power?